watching the live stream to be able to follow what we're talking about. So the more y'all down front, the better. What's up? Oh yeah, I do. I got new glasses even. I got a new subscription and still. All right, my watch says 6:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the first Musicians Forum of the semester. Right. What we're going to do today is I'm going to start by explaining a little bit about Department Recital. Raise your hand if you are in your first year here at Texas State. Yeah, so lots of folks. Department Recital, I understand you can feel a little bit lost at first. Did anybody watch the video I made? Yeah, it's probably pretty helpful, right? Did you see my awesome Final Cut Pro, like preset things where like words would come scrolling over the bottom or something like that? Yeah, I love Final Cut Pro. Basically, this course is about growth. That's what it's about. When I first took over this course, I read the course evaluations, and there was a lot of complaining about why are we even in this? What is this supposed to be? So when I took over this course, I wanted to make it more clear what this is about. And really, it's about goals. It's about setting goals and creating habits. That's, you had that goal setting assignment, right? That's not busy work. I think that's one of the most important things you do all semester. If you don't know where you're going, you'll never get there, right? So goals are really crucial in that aspect. Some of you I asked to redo that goal-setting assignment because you weren't specific enough. I gave an example in the syllabus of what I want. Some of y'all just said what you want to do. It's like if I were to say, I want to be the world's best harmonica player. It's a lofty goal, right? There's a lot of good harmonica players out there. But if I don't know what I'm doing or don't know how I'm going to get there, it's just a bunch of hot air, right? If I were to say, I'm going to listen to great harmonica players and transcribe harmonica solos and work on my tone and maybe go track down Mickey Raphael and take a lesson with him, now all of a sudden I'm listing specific ways to get there. And that's what I want you to do with your personal goals. So let's talk about the requirements of this course real quick. There are 10 things to do, right? 2 of them are written assignments. The first one's that goal-setting assignment. If you haven't turned it in yet, boo, but turn it in. I'll take it. So boo, but turn it in anyway, right? I might just write a sad face for turning it in late, but you're still going to get credit for it. Don't try me by turning it in on December 1st. I don't know. We'll have to see what kind of mood I'm in. But turn it in now, because doing your goal-setting assignment at the end of the semester would make no sense. It would be very Dada. It would be very modern. I'm going to set my goals at the end of my life. Right? We don't want to do that, right? So that's the first one. What is the second written assignment? Anybody know? Well, what kind of essay? Yeah, you're going to evaluate yourself. Did you get closer to your goals? Why or why not? And I think that's real important. I think we should be evaluating more than just every semester, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. I really believe in modest goals. I wrote in somebody's feedback about their goal-setting assignment, and I'm reading about 20 of them a day, so I'm still getting through them. I wrote to strive for 1% goals, and that person came and told me that that's their studio's mantra now is 1% better every day. That's really what I believe is the way we get success as a musician. Everybody think about it. If you were to sit down and work on an etude or a song, everybody imagine what you're working on in lessons right now. Can you imagine it sounding 1% better after a half hour of practice? That's achievable. Raise your hand if you think you can achieve that. Yeah. That should be your goal. 1% better every day. Does anybody ever heard the term aggregate gains? What is that? What are aggregate gains? I feel like I should be in McCoy School of Business talking about aggregate gains. Anybody know? So I have a savings account. It has $1 in it. At the end of the year, it has $1.04 in it. At the end of the year, it has more than that, right? The amount that's gaining interest is going to be the amount that it starts on, right, at the beginning of the year. So the interest that you gains interest on itself after that, right? I wish I would have started investing a lot younger because I've only now started thinking about retirement, because when I was y'all's age, I was going to live forever, so it didn't matter. But now I'm thinking about it. So aggregate gains are so say you get 1% better. The better you get, the more difference that makes. Think about it. Because you're gaining interest on work you've already done. So think about setting big goals for yourself and then breaking them down into smaller goals. Say I want to play violin in the New York Philharmonic. That's a huge goal. That's a great goal as well. But I could break it down into, before the New York Phil, I want to play in a major symphony orchestra, that's great, but maybe not as prestigious as the New York Phil. Like, I want to play in the Nashville Symphony. I want to play in the Seattle Symphony, other great orchestras, right? And then from there, it might be, okay, I want to get a performance certificate and a master's degree from a really good music school. Or it might be, I want to make it into Tanglewood Festival, or make it into Round Top Festival. And then before that, I'm breaking it down even smaller. I want to be able to play the Brahms Violin Concerto more in tune. I'm playing it, and Dr. Ledbetter told me my intonation isn't good enough. I want to make that better. Can you see how all of these things, we're starting at that end goal, and if you walk yourself backward enough steps, you're going to find exactly what you should be doing on that day. And it could come down to the difference in your life is all those 1% gains you made. If your intonation gets 1% better, think about that's 1% on everything you're doing. Your tone gets 1% better. Think about your range brass players. All of a sudden, playing that B flat above the staff on trombone that used to feel hard, now it feels easy. Think about how that makes everything in your playing better. I'm saying this because I went through the ringer myself. I expected way too much out of myself on a daily basis, and I got angry a bunch of times when I was y'all's age. I remember throwing my mallets at the wall because I was still missing notes. It's real easy to get stuck in that mindset if you're not giving yourself credit for the improvements you're making. If you're just not getting better on that piece of music, what might it tell you about that piece of music? It's too what? It's too difficult. What about if you're playing a piece and it sounds great almost right away? That tells you that piece is probably too what? Easy. Your private teachers are experts at helping you to find that zone of proximal development, is the fancy word that we use in education for it. That's a level right past your current ability level where an expert can help you to get to, right? So they find that piece that's going to make you a little uncomfortable. Raise your hand if you have a piece of music that's making you a little uncomfortable right now. That's the piece of sand that's going to become a pearl, right? That's precious. And that uncomfortable is what's making you good. Those practice sessions where you're banging your head against the wall and you don't feel like you're getting any better, you actually are getting better. And that day where you have that eureka moment and then all of a sudden you can play that passage, you didn't achieve that in that moment. You achieved that in every moment before it. Think about melting ice. At what temperature does ice melt? 32 degrees, 33 degrees. Imagine we're trying to melt a block of ice and the room is 25 degrees Fahrenheit. We work really hard to raise the temperature, but it's 27. Now it's 28. Has that block of ice changed yet? No, it hasn't melted at all. Have we made progress? Yes. Then all of a sudden you get to 32 degrees, 33 degrees, and you see that piece of ice start sweating. It wasn't anything magic you did in that moment. It was everything you did to heat up the room leading to that. And those are things to remember. So those 1% gains, I think, are going to be the mantra for this year in Department Recital. And when I talk to you in Musicians Forum about different things, I want for us to keep coming back to that idea of 1% better. 1% better can apply to more than just playing your horn or singing or playing your violin. It can apply to stuff like having a 1% better day, being 1% more productive. Raise your hand if you know you could be more productive. I know I could be. However, I feel like I'm much more productive than I was 6 months ago. I lost 50 pounds this summer. That helped. Like, I don't need you to clap for it. I mean, it's just, I was tired of being tired all the time. So I finally listened to my doctor, and I worked out all summer and ate way less food than I wanted to. But now I'm getting more work done. And there's a book I read that helped get me there. It's called Atomic Habits. It's a newer book. And I listened to it first on Audible, and then I bought the book and read it. And that's what helped me to get over the hump and lose the weight and become more productive, right? And it's really on my mind this year. And that book talks about 1% gains, right? It talks about, here's a great one, habit stacking. This is a hack I want for y'all to try this week. Who can tell me something you know you need to do, but you don't want to do it? Who can tell me something specific? You need to do it, you don't want to.
Practicing melodic minor scales.
Oh, melodic minor scales, that wicked augmented second. It's so easy to miss that augmented second. Those are dastardly scales. What's something you like to do? There you go. Do you have a particular etude that you love to play? So what you can do is reward yourself. Do a little bit of habit stacking where anytime when you play an etude, before that you have to play 4 harmonic minor scales, right? This is based on what's called the Premack principle. The best way to explain Premack is you gotta eat your peas before you eat your pie, right? Anybody in Dr. Cabot's classes right now? Yeah, Dr. Cabot talks about Premack. I learned it from her. So the idea is, you want to get to the pie. For me, the musical pie back in the day when I was playing a lot of marimba was improvising. I loved just making up pieces, and that led to me becoming an arranger and composer later. But I love just like making stuff up. That would be my reward after working on something I didn't like. Like, for instance, sight reading a lot of ledger lines. My first year at Texas State, I got some flute books out of the library and was reading flute music on the marimba so I'd get better at ledger lines. I hated that. I'm glad I did it, because now ledger lines don't scare me. Flute players, raise your hand. Any flute players in here? Yeah, they all showed up. Yeah, just they had masterclass probably. So we're just talking about ledger lines, and like, we're talking about the idea of habit stacking. Take the things you don't like and tie them to the things you do like to do. Like, I like to improvise. Back in the day, the only way I could get myself to do uncomfortable things, like work on my ledger line reading on the marimba, was, okay, after I read this flute etude, I'm going to make up a really cool marimba thing, right? And so that's what did it for me. It could be what's the video game thing that people are playing? Switch? I have a Switch, but Switch is probably passe by now. Xbox, is that it? PlayStation, what is it? 3, 4, 5, 6? Oh, with my daughter, it's Roblox. She's all about dress to impress. She shows me every day the cool outfits on there, dress to impress. But you can use that as a reward. You want to play Minecraft? Well, first do your music history and get those things linked to where when you get that craving for Minecraft or you get that craving for a scoop of ice cream, you know that there's something tied to that you've got to do first, right? Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes here. So before I go on with this anymore, let's talk about assignments for this class. So we have those 2 written assignments, 2 School of Music ensemble concerts. Would the chorale count?
Yes.
Yeah. Would a jazz ensemble count? What about jazz combo? Yes. Any ensemble that is an official School of Music ensemble, and there are a lot of them. There are a lot of concerts. You just have to go to 2 of them. The trick is you cannot use concerts that you're in. Did you know I failed department recital once? Just so you know, actually I failed it twice. I lost my scholarship the first time, but I got it reinstated because I cried bloody murder. You know why I didn't pass? I was in 6 ensembles. It's the dumbest decision I ever made. See, back in the day, you could get financial aid for anything back in the day. I took courses I didn't need. I wasn't a jazz major, but I took improv 1, 2, and 3 because it was just like so fun, right? Back in the day, you could do that. So I'd sign up for a million ensembles. There was a semester, here's my 6 ensembles. Jazz ensemble, jazz combo, symphony orchestra, wind symphony, percussion ensemble, steel drum band. So there were weeks where I had a concert every night. And I was trying to have a part-time job at the Gap in the outlet mall. There weren't enough nights where I wasn't, every night where I wasn't in a concert, I was at the Gap making $6 an hour trying to pay rent. So I wound up failing that semester. Back then the requirements were almost twice as much as they are now. We've scaled it back, okay? Even a year ago, it was 10 concerts you had to go to. I changed it to 8, okay? So 2 of them are ensemble concerts, but you can't count the ones you're in. You can find a way. If I would have really tried, I could have found an ensemble concert at 2 o'clock on a Saturday that I could have gone to, but I wasn't quite proactive enough with making myself do it. But it was hard because I was in so many ensembles. You have to go to 2 recitals. Faculty recitals count, student recitals count, lectures can count for this. If you go to a faculty, like a guest lecture or a featured faculty lecture, but it's got to be music. I mean, it's really cool if you want to go to a philosophy lecture, but that can't count, but it might be able to count as a wild card. The wild cards can be anything related to your goal. The goals don't have to be musical, right? I've loved reading some of your non-musical goals. I want to be more patient with myself. You could go and go to a meditation class and use that as one of them. I'm working on mindfulness to become more patient. Those sorts of things, right? So you have to have 2 wild cards. What am I missing? So we have the school ensemble. Somos Musicos and Musicians Board. If you go to both events tonight, you are done with that requirement for the semester. It used to be you had to go to 2 full nights of it, or 4 events total out of 6. 4 out of 6, I got rid of that because I used to be a student and have a job, and it's so hard. Raise your hand if you have a job. Yeah, clap for yourself. It is really hard to have a job and be a music major. I remember my freshman year roommate who never seemed to be in class, compared to music. He's like, where are you going? You just had class. How many classes do you have? It's I have 5 classes today. How many hours are you taking? 15? Right? So we've all been there. But those of you who are holding down a job while you do that, I know it's difficult. So plan carefully. If your time is really limited, plan carefully for how you're going to fulfill the obligations for this class. I went through a phase when I failed department recital. I definitely was one of those people saying, why do we even have that stupid class? When I didn't get my scholarship until I got them to see that the reason I couldn't get my scholarship is I was playing in too many ensembles. You know, that's what the scholarship's all about, right? You know, when you break it down by the hour, that $1,000 scholarship sure was not much for all the playing I was doing, but I was able to get it back. But the important thing is that I want this class to actually mean something. If your goal is to have better intonation, what better way than to hear great intonation? Or hear intonation that's not so great. You might go to one of your friends' recitals and you're like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to cringe like I did. You just smile and in your head you're like, wow, that's really out of tune. That's actually, your intonation is getting better when you're evaluating other people's intonation. The other day, okay, this is just a quick dad brag. I've got a really cool daughter. She's in 6th grade. She has perfect pitch, which is funny because I don't have perfect pitch. My wife doesn't have perfect pitch, but she does. Why? Well, she started playing piano when she was 3. She's had piano lessons for she started it with 45 minutes when she was 3. And she's been doing an hour since she was 7. So the other day, I was changing strings on a nylon string guitar, and I was cranking it down. And just to be funny, I took one of the strings and plucked it, and it was like super flabby, but it still sounded like a note. And I was like, Jillian, what note is that? She's like, it's sort of like D, but it's too flat. It's like a D, but it's flat. And I took out my tuner and checked it. It was a D, 15 cents flat. So I was like, wow, that's really cool. So many people come up and they say, oh, your daughter's so talented. She inherited your talent. And I was like, talent's not a real thing. Those of you who have heard me talk about this, talent is a made-up construct. There is no physical evidence for the existence of talent. Even Mozart. Everybody wants to talk about how Mozart was so gifted. Well, a lot of scholars think now that early Mozart wasn't actually Wolfgang. It was his dad passing off, you know. What was Mozart's dad's name? Leopold, yeah. A lot of people said it was Leopold passing off his work as Mozart's because there's a noted improvement when some scholars think it actually did become Wolfgang's music. But it's real easy to get stuck in this trap of thinking, why am I even trying? That other person is so much more talented than me. What appears to be talent is the confluence of hard work, luck, great circumstances, and sometimes just, luck. When you're lucky enough to be born to 2 parents who are music teachers, I wish I would have been. So great opportunities. For all I know, she's going to spurn music and decide to play sports. If she does that, she's going to be on her own. I can't help with that. But the idea is, if you want to empower yourself, you have to give up notions like, I'm not talented enough. It could be you're not hardworking enough yet. I need to work harder. That's something we can all say, and it's a healthy way to actually get closer to our goals, as long as we're not just pouting about it, but actually doing something about it. But if you say, I'm not talented enough, you're just giving away control, right? So think about that. All right, let's see. So let's talk for a moment about, I've had several students, in fact, I had a whole presentation planned for today, but I kind of bailed on it because several students emailed me saying, can we do another one of those town hall things where we tell you the things that could be going better? Sure. Let's start with scholarships. Who hasn't gotten their scholarships yet? I've been trying. A lot of you have emailed me. I haven't emailed back everybody who's emailed me. I've got 20-something emails this week. I've been going down to the office and working on this. The problem is, right now, we are down 2 staff members in the office. There's a position that's been unfilled for almost a year now because somebody took the job and then bailed. And we've been working on getting the job reclassified as a higher paying job so we could get somebody who won't bail, but that's taken work. The other thing is bookkeeping. We lost our bookkeeper to another program on campus, and it was great for her because she got a raise and a better position. But as a result, unfortunately, there are some things behind, like scholarships right now. If you are in hardship and need some money now, apply to the Dean of Students for the grant they have. It's like a one-time up to $600 grant that you don't have to repay. The catch is you can only apply for it once. Don't let yourself graduate without applying for this thing. It could be the emergency is you're about to lose your apartment. It could be the emergency is you really need to get a pizza. $600 pizza. You go to Pie Society and you're like, I want the Illuminati Supreme, right? But go to the Dean of Students, like even if it's like, I want to go march drum corps and I don't have enough money. See if maybe the Dean of Students thing can cover it. I don't know. Probably not, but it's worth a try. When it comes to drum corps, it's expensive, right? Raise your hand if you're a drum corps person here. Any drum corps people? Oh, a couple. Yeah. You know, I paid $1,000 to be in the Blue Devils.
Just one?
It's 1,000, a single thousand. Actually, it was less. It was 800 because I worked the bingo hall twice. Okay, so before we get started with town hall, realize scholarships. Like there's a lot of work going into scholarships this week and trying to get things processed. The problem is we have to wait until the census day, which is passed, but we have to check to make sure you're enrolled in the right number of hours to get a scholarship before we disperse it. And there's a lot of that going on right now. Okay, so I'm going to give you a prompt before we start. I want you to think back to auditions, because I'm the guy that runs auditions. And when it comes to things I can change, I can really affect what happens on audition day, because I'm in charge of all that. And I have to ask for serenity for the things that I can't change, right? And the wisdom to know the difference between the two. So, just to get back to the idea of what can I change, I know I can make auditions better. I know that I can make my classes better. But some of the other problems you might have, I might not be able to help you solve. But sometimes it'll make you feel better just to like blow off the steam. But anyway, auditions. Who can tell me, how did you feel on audition day when you were here? Good? Bad?
I think there could be much better lighting in the front of the music building, which is something that I think has come up before on like audition mornings, because I help with auditions.
Yeah, it's real dark over there.
It is very dark. It's like, I think it might be giving a lot of people bad impressions, like, oh, like this is a dark, depressing place. And like
Yeah.
that can be kind of a subconscious thing, but it can still happen.
Yeah, I need to find, it could be as simple as going to IKEA and buying a couple of lamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, because I'm so used to like the dark entryway. I mean, it's been 20-something years I've been here, so it's like, I'm used to that. But I can see how if you're walking in, compared to some of the buildings where it's gonna be like walking into the student center, like it's a very different experience, right? Very good. Anything else audition-wise? What could have been better on your audition day? Go ahead, Kenneth.
Maybe not something better, but this is something that I'm actually giving out a compliment. Something you could keep doing. Maybe I'm biased, but I'm personally really glad that I wasn't required to have a box selection prepared for my audition.
Mhm.
It's not that I have anything against it, but I just really like that this school emphasized it's like demonstrate to us what you can do.
Oh yeah, rather than there being like you got to choose music, right? As opposed to being told like this, and this. I like that, yeah, cool.
I prefer that much better.
Right, that's good to know. I'll make sure to tell that to string faculty.
So I only auditioned here in UTSA, and when I auditioned for UTSA, it wasn't anything their school did in particular, but I met a guy there in the sax studio, and he like sat down and talked to my dad and I for like 10-15 minutes about what it was like. And I think it'd be cool if there was like positions for representation from somebody in the studio to tell you like, this is how it is, this is what it's like, and this is what your day-to-day life's gonna be like, because there's only so much I feel like you can really get from like a faculty member who's not living it day-to-day. So I think like having somebody from your instrument studio there, maybe it'll kind of escort you to places and just have that talk would be really good.
That's a really good idea, like a studio envoy who's not even working auditions, like running stuff, but just there to answer questions and to talk about, to some of the frank questions that people would be scared to maybe ask Dr. Oxford because you're auditioning for that person. That's a great point. Anything else that comes to y'all's mind audition-wise? Go ahead.
Practice rooms, whenever I auditioned, I was one of the first ones to audition for my particular instrument, and I still had lots of problems finding a place to warm up and to do my pre-audition routine. And we could be, I don't know if Colorado is used, but maybe having that as another option for people auditioning to warm up and get ready before they actually get to go perform for the festival.
I like that idea. And Colorado would be easy enough because we could just have a monitor walking students over there and walking people back, have a couple monitors going back and forth. And it would be good for us, recruiting-wise, for people to see we have more practice rooms than just what's in the music building. Anything else?
This is also on the topic of practice rooms. I think it would be really great if we could install, like, preferably a full-length mirror in every single practice room. Maybe not in Colorado, but I know that a lot of us really benefit from being able to see ourselves in the mirror.
Problem is, y'all would quickly figure out I'm a vampire. That's why I took all the mirrors out of the music building. Just kidding. But no, that's a great idea. I like having mirrors around, and it's funny, students never use mirrors anymore. They all use their phones, like as a mirror. I like a mirror better. Go ahead, Sarah.
In terms of the rooms where auditions take place, maybe taking into more consideration, like I know Low Grass the past year were in the really small conference room,
Yeah.
where it's really hard for Low Grass to have enough space, so taking into consideration rooms when we do the things.
The tough thing about that is we think really carefully about that. There's only so many large spaces, and that's been a struggle. It'd be great if we could use, well, we have to keep it all to the music building, which is part of the issue.
The Gamelan room, perhaps?
That's a good idea. We probably could. It would involve more monitors going back and forth, but using that large Colorado room is a good idea. I'm writing a note about that. We could scare people by saying they have to play a scale on one of these gamelan metallophones in order to get in. It's the secret challenge. All right. Other thoughts on auditions? Maybe one more?
With a lot of times in auditions, some people don't show up and they'll move the times around and ask people to come in early, which can sometimes disrupt the warm-up times. Like, I know that's something I dealt with. I had warmed up for marimba, and then they called me in to do my audition, and I hadn't gotten any chance to warm up on snare. And I was planning out my warm-up session, and I didn't do as well on the snare drum excerpts I prepared that I was hoping, because I didn't get a chance to warm up. So just maybe a saying to the faculty something.
Yeah, I could write an email about that. That's real easy. But yeah, that would throw me off too if I had my routine. And I do have a routine. And if I was cut off in the middle of it, hey, can you come in early? That's a little scary. And I could see why they would do that, to just keep things moving and maybe try to get ahead. But that's a really good point. All right, open forum now. What's bugging you?
Okay, the conference room always happens to be locked at random times, and I need access to a microwave because I'm not rich and I can't go out to get
That's a great
We
point.
need a microwave somewhere accessible, maybe in the printer room, just not where it will be locked, and then not where I have to disrupt people's classes or meetings to go use the microwave for 2 minutes. It doesn't make sense.
That's a really good point. We need, there used to be a student lounge in the building. The conference room and the string office used to be connected, and that was a student lounge. They had that microwave and that oven, all that stuff, and the couches were in there, and at any time of day there was 5 or 6 people sleeping in there. But yeah, we started running out of room and had to turn things into other things. But I bet there's a creative solution to this, like finding a space. By the copier is an interesting idea. Let me think on that, because I bet that's an easy fix. And having access to a microwave really is something, like those of us who can't afford to eat out every day. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is very small, but the corner in the voice like area, it is like filled with just junk from all the different rooms.
Oh, the yard sale, yeah.
So it's just that's a place where a lot of us like to go to like study and have quiet time, and also like our professors can't necessarily get out of their room. Really. So
You know, I bet we can probably solve that pretty easily.
yeah, this is like line that
One of the issues is there are things we can't throw away because they're like certain university-owned things. They have to be taken to like remote storage. So we just need to call them to come down and grab that stuff.
No, I was just gonna add, like, I feel like a lot of just stuff that teachers have discarded and we just put there. Like, I don't know whether they're like broken or they're not.
I'm gonna go take a look at this tomorrow. I'm intrigued. I think I might take some of it. Hey, here's what we do. We go down to the art building, we take several unrelated objects, and we arrange them in a really interesting way and then put a tag on it. Says like, give it a name like Scattered Echoes. And then 2024, Jordan Stern. And then put a price tag like $38,000. That's a good point. Now, of course, there's not space for that now, but the new building, there could be. Right now, well, it's interesting. We have faculty sharing offices right now, which is, I don't know, it could be a bummer. But I like that idea. Are you able to use, Dr. Davidson's office when he's not here?
Well, we try sometimes using the conference room, but that's not always available.
Yeah.
And when we use a classroom, it's like sometimes very hard to clean up after ourselves. As
Yeah.
well as for example, like hot weekends, we have to be really close to a wall. So
Okay, that's a really good point. I think what we could do is maybe find somewhere where y'all could leave stuff and have y'all able to check out that room. Let me see what spaces might work for that. There's fewer spaces than we used to have, but that's a really good idea. Other thoughts? Clear.
So like on the talk about space, there's not enough seating space, so if there's any ways to get like more furniture for us to sit at.
Oh, in the lobby?
Yeah, because I would rather prefer to not sit on the floor, but yeah.
Makes me wonder where that furniture has even come from. Go ahead.
In the drum set factory room, I think there should be AC or like a fan. It's pretty dusty in there.
Oh, is the ventilation not working in there? Which one specifically? Just the downstairs or the one upstairs?
Everything.
So do all the practice rooms have ventilation issues?
Yes. I have a student who complains so bad that she brings her own box fan to lessons. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. You could buy one of those icy breeze things, you know, like the cooler with like the hose coming out. We could buy one for every practice room.
On the topic of AC, some of the rooms are always, like, 224 is always ridiculously frigid, and then there's sometimes, when there's other classrooms still upstairs, like, 221 is always like 80 degrees.
Well, 224 is haunted, so there's nothing we can do about that. But no, to be serious, that's a complaint that goes back to like when I first got here, like 20-something years ago, about that room. Apparently, there's no way to change it because it's either really cold or super hot.
I would rather be cold than,
Yeah, but
I would sit in my place.
yeah, over here. Yeah.
I realized all the practice
Yeah, I think that we could make that one happen for sure. I just need to talk to Dr. Sullivan about, maybe find something that is the right length. It's probably different room to room too, based on what's in there. But that's a really good point. Go ahead.
I don't know if it started working recently, but last time I tried to get into the Colorado building, the cars weren't working for freshmen.
Oh, wow. Okay, has anybody tried recently?
It's for freshmen and it takes a while.
Oh, it takes a while?
You have to ask the front office to turn it into like ID services. Like every freshman class has to have someone do that.
Oh, okay. So did y'all hear that? It's important. Go to the front office and make sure that they've gone to ID services and given you access. Unfortunately, I've been trying to get a master list forever of all the new people. Such a thing does not exist. It seems like it would, but there's not anywhere where we can just get a list of every person who needs access who's not on there. So if you're not on that, let's get you added, for sure. Are you able to get into Colorado 24/7?
It's also like,
11, 12? Midnight? Okay. Do they kick people out of there at midnight? No. Okay. So you just got to get in before then. Okay, cool. All right. I was concerned about that because the music building closing at 10 it used to close at 2 a.m. back in the day. So I know it's a little early, but as long as Colorado's open, that's good. Go ahead.
I think one thing that could be cool is having some place to buy musical supplies in school.
I almost bought that jujitsu studio. It's over by Mocha's.
Good evening, and welcome to the Texas State University.
Yes. I almost bought that. I was seriously considering starting a music store there because I was just thinking about all the people who come over for reads and stuff. I didn't have enough capital. I looked into it. Oh yeah, well, repairs are a tough thing everywhere. That's a good career to go into, by the way. There's not nearly enough repair people.
One issue that we've had with several registration chamber groups is getting rooms booked and not double booked. The quartet I was part of has had 3 or 4 different rooms booked, and it was deferred to a class that was already scheduled in there that they didn't know about. And that's been an issue with several other chamber groups, and then also people coming in and kicking us out, even if they don't have it reserved.
Oh yeah, well if you have it reserved, nobody should be able to kick you out. Does the building monitor have access to that after hours, like a list of who's supposed to be where?
I don't think there's a master list anywhere.
Yeah. We changed to a new calendar reservation system this year in the building. It's brand new. I'm still not used to it. It's very different. So the double booking thing, I think, is just probably earnestly an issue between master calendar for the classes. And it was funny, that was the issue that was supposed to be fixed by this change. But it sounds like it's still happening. So I'll look into that. Grace.
Okay, I actually have 2 suggestions.
Okay.
Wait, I'm coming out here, so I don't scream. Feel free to shoot me down, right?
Okay.
So, on the topic of room reservations, some of the services at the university use Outlook bookings to book rooms, and then it won't let you I don't know. I feel like there should be some kind of online way to book rooms through Teams or Outlook, or maybe not even that. That shows you this room, every room, and what times they're available. And then there's not even that lightens Victoria's load so much, and there's not nothing's ever gonna get double booked. And then my other thing is that no hate or shade. I don't know who runs the School of Music Instagram, but I think it'd be really cool if there was money to offer a scholarship to have a student run it for Texas State School of Music, because everything that they post is just what they put on the TV with no captions. And I think and I know students not Kristen, she does too much, but kids like Kristen who are really good at that stuff that can make it look really sharp and then get some extra money.
It used to be, we had somebody before, but I'm not sure if we still do. That's a good point.
Anyway, those are my suggestions.
All right, very good. Let's see, it's Sarah.
Would it be possible to have, I get not a class because there's already too many credits to use again, but maybe have 1 or 2 workshops a semester on like instrument repair so we can go into some basics?
Yeah, that's been something we've been interested in for a while. The problem is where the money comes from. So that could be a really good CTME thing, maybe. Saw the other day, like CTME is just flush in money. I saw their balance on the. Just kidding. They have literally tens of dollars. So, but no, that might be a cool thing for one of the groups to sponsor is bring in a couple of people because I hate asking people to come in for free because then I owe them a favor. And then you just never know when they're going to ask me to like jump in front of a bullet for them, and I'm going to have to do it because they came to the university that one time. Go ahead.
So with the new kiosk, is there some type of like instructions or training or something?
No, I didn't even know it existed until the other night.
No, because half the time if I come like early in the morning before class and try to like practice for like 30 minutes, like I'll be doing the thing where I go around pushing all the doors and like half of them are locked.
Mhm.
But if I knew how to use the kiosks, or half the time when I'm here like for room reservations and I have a room reserved, but the door is locked and there's no building monitor or
yeah.
faculty to be found, if I could just enter in my ID number and y'all have record, be like, they have a key.
That's a
They'll
good
be like,
point.
"Cool, come chase after."
That kind of lines up with something I've been meaning to do anyway, which is find out what's in that kiosk and how it works because I have no idea where that
I see piano teachers using it and then
Oh,
find
that's-
the key and then run away.
That's probably mainly for, yeah. But it's a good idea to use it for other rooms. Like, there's no reason why a room like 123 or 124 shouldn't have somebody doing stuff in it because it's a great room. Go ahead.
Kind of switching the topic, my friends have said to me at their high school that the school of music website has been crashing on them lately and taking them to 404 pages.
Okay.
For example, like I haven't had issues with it, but my friend is starting a senior recital, and he was trying to look at like when the Somos were, and obviously they're on the department of recital page, but he was trying to use the calendar to look
Yeah.
at, and he said like it kept taking him to 404, like it just wasn't loading.
We have a brand new calendar system. Like, in addition to room reservations, the School of Music calendar is now a different thing. So I think they might not have migrated every link on the website to the new thing. But that's a good point. I'll mention it to Hank because he runs the website stuff. But yeah, the website, there are some broken links on it still. Go ahead.
To bounce off of his point, there's a lot of things on the website that are extremely outdated.
Yep.
And especially under the current students page, there's scholarship renewal request forms from 2021 that have not been updated. There's no information on how to renew scholarships if you have one that needs a renewal. And I've personally been in contact with the front office about it and other people, professors, and I often don't get any answer. So if somebody could just update the website for, not for the other like concerts and stuff that seems to be like good for the most part, but the current students part of the page, because a lot of it's just old information.
Yeah, and I'm working on updating the student handbook. Problem is, I just have a few more things to get for that, but I'm trying to get to where every policy is spelled out there. It's just, there are some things, yeah, like even I find that where I'll find my way to something that's I know is super old. Part of the problem also is that one of our staff positions in the front office is supposed to be doing a lot of website stuff, like that position that's been empty for a year. Our jazz piano professor, Hank Hemseth, does a lot of it, but it's not his main job. But I do feel like website-wise we're behind. You ever seen UNT's website? It's sick. It's in a good way, right? It's so good. Like, you can tell they've got like a full-time webmaster for the UNT School of Music. Oh, not School of Music, I'm sorry, College of Music. They're that big, right? But they've got 3 times, 4 times, 5 times as many music majors as we do, so all that money they can do stuff like hire a webmaster. Whereas I would like it if our website didn't look like 2003 anymore. But we've tried. I mean, it's such a huge job. It would really be a full-time job for somebody all year to like go and redo everything and like new HTML. Like but I do think we need to get rid of old dead stuff on there. That's a good idea. If you ever find anything dead, email that to me. Email me a link where if you know it's out of date, I'll forward it to Hank and we'll see about getting that taken down. I have time for one more thing. Right here.
Yeah, this is just something that was bothering me, I guess. So I have oral skills with Dr. Nino, and Dr. Nino's fine. But when we come in at 8 a.m., we have to like reorganize the room and like wipe down the tables because somebody the night before is like using that room, I guess, and just leave a mess.
I know they're making reads in there, right? I'm just kidding. No, I know what you mean. Like the other day, I went into a room and somebody had spilled coffee on a table and left it overnight. And I just, yeah, that's not a way you want to start your day. This is something we've been working on for years. This is something we can all fix. We all have stuff in those rooms like, organizations, practice, whatever. Move stuff, fine. Eat stuff, fine. But try to leave the room 1% better, you see what I did there, than when you came in. If we all do that before long, the building's going to be perfect, right? All right. Hey, one more. Why not?
Just adding on to that, going to our rehearsal, we have to get all of the 20 trillion chairs out of the entire rehearsal hall in order to set up for like our scenes and stuff. If there could be, I know it's a kind of hard time crunch with everyone having 20 million classes, but is it possible to like get a setup so that classes can quickly break down and have like a reset?
That's what it should be, and that's something we need to talk to ensemble directors about. Like when I was a high school band director, part of the end of every class was my students would take chairs and stands and put them where they needed to be for the next period. That was just one of those 3 Ps. Those of you who are future music teachers, policies, protocols, and procedures, those are things that make the difference a lot of time between great programs and not so great programs. So might be good if we designate one person in every ensemble to be a steward of such things, who might just be the person that yells at everybody and says, hey, rack your stands, stack your chairs. Because you're right, it is a bummer when you have rehearsal and the first thing you have to do is stack 50 chairs. All right, I think this was a good session. If there's something that you didn't say and you wanted to, or there's something you were embarrassed to say because it's not something you want to say in front of everybody, email me, come and see me during office hours. I've been in the building a lot more. If you ever come to my space and I'm not in there when it says I'm supposed to be, I'm in some meeting somewhere because there's been a lot of meetings. But yeah, part of my position is to listen to these concerns from y'all and try to get some action going. But what I like about what we talked about today, a lot of these things are super fixable, which is great. It's exciting. All right, stick around for Somos, y'all.